Hello everyone! In the comments of one of my previous videos, some people talked about fish stick on a stick rebalance mode, or bad weapon rebalance SOA, as it's officially called. I myself have been playing on it for a couple of months now, and I think I have some words to say about it, especially considering there are not a lot of videos about this mod. I think it's about time someone aside from Fish himself makes one. This video is a general overview of the mod, because, unlike other mods I covered on my channel, this one does not have a particularly interesting history, yet. But I think it's still worth talking about the mod, because it is one of, if not the most popular version of Balancemod currently, and, considering it has a backing of an actual YouTuber, it may have more chances to survive in the long run. This video is divided into 3 parts. History of the mod. As I've said, it's quite short, but it's still there. Goals of the mod. What has changed from vanilla TF2. And then my opinions on the mod. The good, stuff that I liked, and the bad, stuff that I didn't like. Anyway, let's get started. Fish Rebalance mod was created around March 2022, with its first mention in one of his videos being on March 25th. Fish wanted to create a rebalance mod for a while, considering he talked about doing it in his videos, and how he would change particular weapons. While the mod was created by him, all the coding, server hosting and balancing is done by Shaker Silva. Originally, it was only a single NA server hosted through Amazon, which, as you might imagine, meant it was very laggy. I remember how the server was only up during Fish's streams, because otherwise it would crash. But even then, it still crashed due to lack of memory storage. Now Balancemod has 2 servers, one runs vanilla maps, and the other runs vanilla maps with extra custom maps. Both servers are located in Central North America, both of them are now stable. Aside from that, nothing else interesting has happened on the server. Yet. Well, except that one time HiGPS wanted to have some kind of podcast about balancing weapons in TF2, but as far as I know, it didn't go anywhere. And considering whatever the fuck is going on in GPS BMod right now, yeah, I'm glad it didn't go anywhere. Unlike the previous balance mod I covered, Fish mod does not have official goals, aside rebalancing the weapons shown in Bad Weapon Academy, but, I imagine, just like all other balance mods, Rebalancemod aims at improving base gameplay by making the weapons more balanced. It's in the name. But, unlike the other 2 big balance mods, Kingo and HiGPS, Fish tries to only change the bad weapons, while avoiding nerfing the weapons that can be considered overpowered. Weapons, such as crossbow, are unchanged and probably won't be, or at least that was the original plan. Recently they changed how all the sniper rifles work, nerfed the Ubersaw and more, so this rule is out of the window. And, like HiGPS balance mode, it introduces new mechanics. If GPS introduced jump pads, Fish introduced 3-hit melee crit mechanic, which I will go into later in the video. It should also be noted that Fish mode is much more casual oriented, unlike other balance mods. The other goal of the mod is more or less obvious, to make a server on which Fish can play during his streams or videos. Which, well, it's hard to say if that goal was achieved. But let's ask the man himself. Let's finally get to the interesting part of the video. Fish Rebalance mod changes 70 plus 4 weapons and adds other gameplay mechanics, which I will go over first and then get to the weapons. Just like most community servers, Fish mod disables random bullet spread, random crits and random fall damage spread, which is basically required for any semi-serious TF2 server at this point. However, due to the lack of a large player base, which is quite common for all balance mods, Fish mod has valve bots with random weapons and hats as a replacement for players when not enough people are present to play on the server. Rebalance mod also has class limits. You can't have more than 2 of the same class on your team, but it goes up to 3 if the server has more players. It also removes the annoying mechanic of teammates eating your melee hits, which is nice. One of the more controversial changes in my opinion is the fact you can get guaranteed crits on your melee if you hit someone 2 times in a row. It's more fair than random crits, but the change is still questionable at best in my opinion. But let's get to the weapons. As I've said before, 70 plus 4 weapons were changed to this mod. The most changed class is Pyro, of course. 11 plus 3 weapons of his were changed. Oh, why plus 3, you may ask? Well, it's because the way flamethrower particle work was changed to make it more consistent, which affects all primary pyro weapons aside Dragon's Fury. It also means that pyro flamethrowers do more damage now, as long as you can aim, which is very easy as pyro. The other major change to the vanilla weapons was the syringe gun buff. As I've said before, the magic's strongest weapon, the crossbow, was not nerfed, so the changes were quite radical. The syringes are now much faster and have less spread, but this required a new custom code, so the way projectile itself works was changed, and it's not very pretty. But hey, at least it's semi-viable now. And there is also a new vanilla change, sniper rifle nerf. I didn't test it out in game yet, but I imagine it doesn't really change much. There are also changes that just remove random crits for certain melee weapons, which may be seen useless at first, but it's actually a part of the 3-hit crit system, because only weapons that can deal random crits can use the system, so thankfully no crit Demonite. They also like to add secret weapon changes for some reason, such as Iron Curtain using rockets instead of bullets, or Scottish Handshake being Demoman's version of Market Gardener, which was later removed, unlike the Iron Curtain for some reason. But I think it should also be noted that Shaker Silver managed to program a lot of the changes which were considered impossible or too hard to code by other balance mods, such as the Scorched Shot change and the Syringe Gun changes. Even if they are a bit junky, it's still very impressive. But let's get to the part where I say what I think of the mod. Let's start with the stuff that I liked. I would say that most weapon changes are pretty good. Of course it's not perfect, there are some exceptions, but the thing about balancing TF2, everyone has different opinions, so it's impossible to create quote-unquote perfect balance mod. So instead of talking about each change individually and why it's bad or good, here is a tier list, because those take no effort. I think all of you know how a tier list works, so I don't have to do much in terms of explanation. All you need to understand is that most weapon changes are good. It should also be noted that the community is quite nice. I don't interact with them that much because of reasons, but compared to other TF2 communities, I'd say it's one of the better ones. And when I say community, I mean TF2 players, not Discord. Discord is hell on earth. I also like how a lot of things on the server scale up with the amount of players, like the fact that class limit is not always locked to 2, and the bots are quite good to test out weapons when nobody is on, because just like all other balance mod, this one also has a player problem. I'm honestly surprised that other balance mod didn't implement bots earlier. The mod team listens to feedback most of the time and fixes bugs quite quickly. For example, I had a complaint about Sniper not auto-reloading his gun after the sniper rifle change. Next day it's fixed. But, most importantly perhaps, I think the biggest positive side of the mod is the coder, Shaker Silva, because he gets stuff done, and it's of decent quality too, considering he doesn't use any custom assets, so you don't have to download anything while joining the game. As I've said before, some of the changes, like the Scorched Shot not exploding after hitting the ground, or Flock using M2 button for something aside from taunting, were deemed too hard or impossible to implement, but then Silva just does it. But of course, nothing is perfect, so let's talk about the bad. Well, I should perhaps begin with the obvious. Some of the changes are just garbage. I know it's just an opinion, but I think most of us can agree that getting a guaranteed crit on a melee weapon after 2 hits is bullshit, especially considering how TF2's hit track works. I would honestly just scrap that system. The flamethrower change is also something I kind of dislike. I like the idea of making flamethrowers more consistent, but the damage it does, or used to do, just reminds me of the overpowered WM1 machine from TF2C. Flamethrowers now do too much damage in my opinion. I also talked about syringe guns being junky previously. Well, I honestly can't even name them because of the new projectile. It's also very loud for some reason, so in the end I can't even get any benefits from the new changes. And, as all B-mods do, this mod does not get a lot of players. Despite being the most popular one, it's only full when Fish is streaming, and when he is offline your best bet is a 9v9. And if you're European, you also have to adjust to NA time, which is always fun. On the topic of NA, no European servers. Currently Balancemod only has servers in North America, but Silva said we would get a European server if Balancemod becomes popular, so hopefully I won't have to endure 250 ping soon enough. But now it's time to talk about something I really didn't want to talk about. Let me just put it that way. Fish streams very often, he gets targeted very often, so being killed by the same people on his server is not fun for him nor his viewers. So this resulted in some people getting banned, including me, for very vague reasons. So I was basically banned for being too good at the game. But after I talked to Fish himself, I did get unbanned, along with my friends. So at least the staff are possible to talk to, which is already better than 90% of TF2 servers. As I've said before, this server has a very casual attitude towards a lot of things. So if you play too good, well, the locals won't really like you. But hey, at least now they don't ban people for no reason. Unlike some other TF2 YouTubers, Desi Cheeses for example. Also, special mention to this Ubisoft change because what the f. And that's about all the negatives I can remember. Fish Stick on a Stick rebalance mod is currently the most popular balance mod, and, in my opinion, with the backing of a large YouTuber, it has a brighter future than most balance mods. The weapon changes are, in my opinion, mostly good, so I would recommend that you try that server out. But of course it has drawbacks, such as lack of players, so unless you have friends to play with you will have to wait. And that's about it for this video, thanks for watching everyone, have a good day.